Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. In this video, we are going to do a brief timeline therapy session, including taking a detailed personal history. Nini, thank you for joining us in today's session. To start with, Nini, why are you here?
I feel my energy has been a little bit flat and have a little bit self-criticism in my head. So just want to clear that out. I think it's because at the moment I'm probably in that career transitions. So feel a little bit lost.
And how do you know that you have the problem of self-criticism? How do you know?
It's like I would say to myself, like, oh, you're not doing good enough. Even though I went to learn some new, skills, I still feel like, oh, how can I do it better? Oh, you're not doing good enough. How can you do it better? It's like never been better.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And saying to yourself, you were not good enough. How is that a problem?
I think the problem is that I don't have that energy. It's kind of drain my energy because when I have that voice coming, it's like, hey, you're not doing good enough. You should try harder. You should do it better. That kind of bring down my energy, but also kind of erase all the hard work, all the effort that I did for myself.
So can you give me an example of the problem and how you do it? So before you said the self-talk will be, you are not doing good enough. Can you show me how you do that problem? How do you do it?
Okay. So, for example, if I'm using the pendulum work, after I done the whole, energy clearing, and then I have a voice say that, maybe you should find another teacher and learn a little bit more in detail so we can also working out with these particular problems. For example, is there any other hidden emotions under there? So it's like there's a voice that's like, hey, you should go and learn more. You just learning the surface. It's not deep enough. It's a voice that's like, you need to learn more. It's not deep enough. You cannot be the master of it. So I think for me, it's like if I learn something, I just want to make sure I'm very good at that particular subject.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When else do you do it? When else do you do this negative self-talk of you're not doing good enough?
Can be after certain after the exam, instead of thinking, oh, what I did right, as a first attempt, I did pretty good. I was just like, oh, shit, maybe I should do this, oh, maybe I should answer that a little bit better way. So I think this happening is because recently, like I say, I'm in that transition, getting a different certification. So I went through that exam process. So I think it's that exam process kind of trigger something about me. Like, yeah, not doing good enough.
And when do you not do it?
I won't do it when I'm asleep, for sure. When I in the coaching call, I'm very concentrated with the sessions. I won't do it. When I'm in a good mood, when I just enjoy family time, when I went out, when I'm in peace of mind, I won't do it. And
can you do it now for me? I want you to imagine in your mind that you've just practiced your pendulum. Mm-hmm. And now you've got to do an exam. Mm-hmm. And you start to say to yourself, you're not doing good enough. I just want you to say that out loud, and I want you to show me how you do it.
So it's like I have a pendulum on my hands, doing it, finish all. And then there's a voice like, hey, there's, we can use in pendulum to remove any negative emotion from the past life. Oh shit, how did I do this? I forgot the sequence. It's like I went to the class, but for some reason I forgot a certain step. And then I say to myself, I should learn more. I should find another teacher that is even better. so I can learn in the whole step and make me look good. So I think the problem is that I don't feel I look perfect. I'm not that perfect enough.
Now, I just want you to take a look at the screen, and I want you to notice your heart rate variation as you talk about this problem. So starting here at 4 minutes,
Yep.
can you see how the heart rate variation and the beats per minute of the heart are going all the way from as little as 70 and shooting all the way up to 100? And then in a fraction of a second, it's dropping back down to below 70.
Yep.
Can you just talk to me about what's happening internally, specifically around your heart at the moment? Are you feeling any shift internally as you talk about this problem?
Yeah, I feel like when I say the word I'm not perfect enough, it's kind of like ding dong, that's the problem. So kind of that hurts like, you know, I think it's that I'm looking flawless.
So what's the problem? Is it that you are not doing good enough, or is it that you don't look flawless? Which one's the problem?
I don't look flawless.
I don't look
Flawless.
flawless. Okay. Now let's just have a look at the emotions there on the screen. So we can see here as you talk about not looking flawless, the heart rate variation and the beats per minute in the heart are dropping all the way down to about 58 and then shooting up over 100.
Yep.
So this problem of I don't look flawless enough, how long have you had that problem for?
I think I probably have that problem for quite a while, maybe very long, maybe since I was little, I would say. You know, like I always want to look very good in front of people. Like, you know, I'm very self-aware when I was little. I dressed high heel when I was like 6, borrow my auntie's high heels, those shoes. You know, junior high school, I already know about, you know, can I eat too much or I look fat? So I only ate breakfast. I skip lunch. Ate very little for dinner. So just make sure that I keep the weight. So I would say like when I was very little. So maybe when I was 6 till now, like I know that I have to look good.
And was there a time when you didn't have the problem of I don't look flawless enough in front of people?
Sorry, how do you mean? It's like when I have the time, I don't think about that problems?
Was there ever a time where you didn't have this problem?
Before 6?
Specifically?
When I was an infant. I think when I was an infant, I probably won't care too much about that. Yeah.
So was there a time in the past when you didn't have this problem?
I would say when I was cabin crew, I never had those problems because I always look very glamorous. Yeah.
Any other examples?
Well, I think that's it. Because if I go through the exam, I don't feel I'm flawless. Because sometimes, you know, the grade probably that I want to have. If I think about being pregnant, I think I look good for a pregnant woman, but probably as good as I, you know, set up for standards. So I think probably it's the only time when I was a crew with 3 different airlines, I feel I'm very flawless. Yeah.
What about at your wedding?
Oh yeah, my wedding looked pretty good. No, I didn't walk properly because at that time I had my injury. Yeah, so I knee in a lot of pain.
What about when you were in Malaysia recently?
I think I was okay, but not in the fullest.
What about Nikita's first day of school?
Okay. So maybe when the kids go to school, I think I always look very presentable. Yeah, that's the time I look very fullest. Yeah.
What about when you're on TV?
Probably can do it better. I would say in some of the training, I think I look very fullest. You know, I have a hair, my makeup done, and then that was the time I look very fullest. Yeah.
What about on your recent family photo shoot?
Yeah, family photo shoot look pretty good.
What about the time you had the makeup artist to come and do your makeup during your online presentations?
Oh yeah, that's why I said like some of the training. I think I think I look very good.
Which ones specifically?
There's a 2-1 when I did 700 people training in total. I think that was those 2 events. I feel I've looked very good. You know, energy is good. My energy is good. You know, I look happy. My hair's done very nicely. All the things.
So what have you done about the problem?
Just try to make myself even better, I would say. How did I do? I did a lot of personal development, you know, make sure that I'm up my game.
What else? Specifically?
I asked for some professional help, you know, like I went to pendulum courses, I even went to Reiki training, but also asked the teacher specifically to do some healing for me. You know, I have those spiritual coach. Also, I have some time therapy, you know, some self-study.
What else?
I think I learn new stuff, refresh material. Just want to make sure that you know, I'm not. How should I say that? Leaving behind. Make sure that I'm in the front line.
And what does that mean?
Mean that I think mean that I cannot behind my husband. Like I have, like for me, I feel I have to be like side by side, like moving forward. So keep in the front line, mean that, you know, I'm side by side with him. That's what it means to me.
And what happened the first time you had this problem of, I don't look flawless enough?
I think the first time would be when I was in junior high school, like when my score didn't get as good as my dad want me to be. And I feel that time, you know, I'm not perfect. That's how I feel. I don't feel I'm not perfect. Because people used to give me a lot of compliment, like, you know, I'm looking tall, I'm looking, you know, good. But, you know, they might ask my parents, oh, which school that she going to? And then for me, I feel like I didn't up to their standards.
And what emotions were present at that time?
Feel a little bit embarrassed and shame. Feel their expectations.
What else?
Feel sad. Feel a little bit like a meaningless of living in the world at that time. That's how I used to think.
Anything else?
I think that time didn't feel worthy enough because I couldn't get the good grades, specifically in the math, I would say. You know, in those science, that's just not my stuff. Yeah, so it feel like, oh, no matter how hard I try, I went to different like bushi band, but the score just couldn't get higher enough, I would say. Not low, but higher enough. Good, not good enough.
And not high enough and good enough compared to...
To a lot of my friends.
So let me get this clear here. Emotions of embarrassment, shame, and even failed expectations of your parents.
Yes.
Sadness and a feeling of meaningless of living in the world at that time. Mm-hmm. Not worthy enough about the grades and in subjects that weren't important to you, such as maths and science.
Mm-hmm.
And then comparing that to friends. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So what events have happened since then?
What events?
What events have happened since then?
I think I run away from home, try to... I'm not sure it's revenge, but I didn't have very good rocky relationship with my dad. So I know I had a lot of tears that time. I tried to commit suicide myself, but I didn't tell everybody. I used to have a little knife and hide in the toilet on the second floor. And I was crying. But I'm too scared to do so. Run away from home and got caught. They didn't blame me, but I feel a little bit embarrassed. And then get to the high school that I didn't really like it. The major that with my score I can get was really sucks. So I only stayed there for one semester and then transferred to different school. And that was the first time I leave outside of the house. I live in a dorm. So feel a little bit sense of the freedom. But at the same time mixing them. So it's really interesting. It's a really funny feeling.
So what were the emotions that were present during that period?
I think it's a little bit conflict of I actually angry to myself, why I shouldn't be smarter in the math or the science subject so I can get higher score, so I can go to the school that I really want. So I think, again, it's that I blaming myself, why I didn't try hard enough. But I think that time I just do everything I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what were the emotions that were present?
Angry, frustrations, and feel I feel like I fail. Feel like a failure.
And in each of these events, what is the relationship between the event and your current situation in life?
I think maybe at the moment I feel like I'm a failure. If we get into that from before now, that's how I connect. I feel like I'm the failure now, because I feel I'm not doing good enough.
Are you doing maths and science right now?
No, but but in context of, business success or the income success, I feel like I'm the failure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Not doing good enough.
What are the other relationships between the event and your current situation?
I think that's a little bit that angry to myself. It's I try so many things. But why, still not getting where I want to be? Maybe I didn't try hard enough. So it's that, self-blame to myself. It's what else I can do better? So it's I feel I always have a voice. It's you can do it better.
Mm-hmm. Any other relationships between the event and your current situation in life?
Probably sometimes I feel like I'm not smart enough when it comes to business. I feel like my brain didn't think the way of other people's. So I feel maybe I'm not I'm not the material of having a business or in the business. Maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should just do something else. Maybe do something that can make me a little bit happier. Yeah.
And what about the comparisons?
Yeah, I feel comparisons are always there. And especially, I think, because, doing those things with my partner together, like I always want to, it's kind of like a reminder to myself, like, okay, what else you can do? What else? Like, so we are, like walk side by side. It's not like, one person is faster, one person is behind. So I think that's quite important to me. Yeah.
So did you notice here, talking about comparisons, the heart rate variation, the beats per minute have jumped all the way up to 140.
Yep. Oh, because when I talk about that, I think about it, I have headache and my heart is like, a little bit, what did I say? Chest pain. Yeah, chest pain and headache. And the headache's on my right-hand side.
Okay. Now, tell me about your parents, your brothers or your sisters in relation to the problem and your current situation.
I feel maybe I haven't get that financial success that maybe not my dad, but maybe my mom, even though she never say anything, but sometimes she was just like, you guys doing this for so long, but why you not saving enough money, things like that. So like for me, I feel like, like a failure again. I feel like the way I'm thinking just very different. I think working is good, but also enjoy the money as well. But I think, it's just different way of thinking. I know saving money is important, but sometimes just so much things that you want to do. So I feel in some way, kind of like, I didn't hit her expectation, even though she didn't say anything. That's how I feel.
So an invisible expectation.
Yeah, like we didn't have the house, we didn't have the car, a lot of things. So even though we, compare, same age as us, a lot of friends, like we probably making more than they do, but they have a lot of material stuff.
So you can comparing it to material things?
Yeah, as well. Yeah, that's just a reality.
Whose reality?
The reality of everybody. Everybody at this stage talking about, do you have a house? Is your house? You have a car? Like that. Just so it's not like they will ask you directly, but in a conversation, you will hear it. Yeah.
What else?
I think also not much to do with my dad or my brother. Yeah.
Okay. And is there a purpose for having this problem? Is there a purpose for having this negative self-talk?
I think it's kind of like a reminder for me. It's like
I don't look flawless enough.
No, it's like you cannot relax. It's a reminder for me. It's like you cannot relax. You need to keep learn or whatever, upgrade yourself. You cannot stop. It's like, because if I stop, then I won't look flawless. So it's kind of like negative strategy of, like you have a little bit negative self. It's like, okay, you need to do more, you're not flawless enough, you're not perfect enough. So that keep pushing you. It's like, okay, learn more, study more. Where else I can find a mentor like so good and teach me this, so I can put into my business, like the coaching tools, so can make me look even better. Yeah. That's the things. So it's kind of like a reminder for me.
So the reason for the problem is so you don't look flawless. So you don't relax. So you keep upgrading yourself. So you don't stop. And if you don't stop, you'll look flawless. So you'll study more. You'll find new teachers and you'll put that information into your coaching, and it's going to make you look even better.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, why did you choose to have this situation be created? When did you choose to have this situation be created?
I don't know, maybe in the transition of we not doing the funnel. So I think that kind of is like, oh shit, if this stop, like what else I can do? What else I can do to help in this business, to add the value to. So that's why, like, okay, I go and learn some stuff and let's put into, in the coaching tools. So bring some different things. Maybe the clients will want this. Maybe, people will find interested. So I think that can be the time that when we decided to exit it out, because I feel there's a lot of change. Like
So are you saying that this problem was created somewhere between 20 and 2024?
Not 2024. This is 2023 now.
2020 to 2024. So somewhere in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to think about that again. I want you to ask your unconscious mind, when did you choose to have this situation be created? Because previously you gave us some examples as early as age 6.
Yeah.
So when did you choose to have this situation be created?
I want to look flawless. 7.
7. Anything before that?
I have a number show up as like 14, but then it's not this lifetime, so I don't know.
So 14, but not this lifetime. Okay. And is there anything that your unconscious mind wants you to know, or is there anything you are not getting which, if you got it, would allow the problem to disappear?
Can you say that question again?
Is there anything your unconscious mind wants you to know, or is there anything you're not getting which, if you got it, would allow the problem to disappear?
Love.
How do you mean?
It's like I have to do good enough, perfect enough, and then people will love me and adore me. Does that make sense?
So just ask the unconscious mind, is there anything your unconscious mind wants you to know, or is there anything that you are not getting which, if you got it, would allow the problem to disappear?
Comparison.
So comparisons are going to allow the problem to disappear. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's why I say it's love.
So I want you to think about this. Is there anything your unconscious mind wants you to know, or is there anything you're not getting which, if you got it, would allow the problem to disappear?
You are good enough. Yes, you are good enough.
And is it okay for your unconscious mind to support us in removing this problem today, and for it to allow you to have an undeniable experience of it when we are complete?
Yes.
Excellent. And how will you know when this problem has totally disappeared?
When I stop self-talk, when I
What self-talk specifically?
When I stop negative self-talk and self-criticisms,
And what words specifically?
You're not good enough. You're not doing good enough.
Just repeat those for me.
You're not doing good enough.
So when we get rid of this negative self-talk of you're not doing good enough, will the presenting problem totally disappear?
Yes.
Excellent. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to take a break and we're going to come back and do the timeline therapy intervention.